Thank you for joining my husband Peter Mansbridge and myself. Thank you for your support of Savour Stratford, Perth County. This evening's gala celebrates the roots of our culinary community. Roots portrayed beautifully in the tree mural created for Savour Stratford by artist and one-time Stratford resident Cato Wake.
And let me join in those thanks to all of you for coming by for this. We hope to have fun the next 90 minutes or so, as we're having fun all this weekend. Today was amazing, given the weather. It kept looking like we were going to get a major downpour, but we seemed to escape that, and blue skies helped at different times during the day. So thank you for being a part of that. Lots more to go. You know, when you know, in my business, you hear lots of stories, and some of them are even true. We report them all, of course, and I can make judgments. One of the stories about Stratford and the festival is that back in 1970, when Robin Phillips was offered the job of the artistic director for the Stratford Festival, he is said to have responded, "Listen, I love Stratford and I love the festival, but really, there's nowhere to eat." Within 5 years, things really started to change. I mean, there were a few restaurants in Stratford, obviously, in 1970, but they weren't the kind of restaurants that Rob and a lot of the rest of us like. By 1975, things started to change when Joe Mandel came to town from the UK and opened the church restaurant to wild acclaim, and others followed in the years that followed, and Stratford started to pick up a reputation as not only a great city, but a great theatre, but a great place to eat. Some of those quality chefs that opened new restaurants here then formed together the Stratford Chef School. Now, the demand that suddenly was placed on those who were supplying Stratford with the kind of foods that these chefs and restaurants wanted changed the dynamic in Stratford, Perth County. We started inspiring suppliers to grow specialty produce, raise organic stock, and manufacture unusual cheeses. Today, Stratford is not just a major theatre centre that not only the province and the country and the world knows about, but it has become a culinary one as well, with its own culinary festival that you're at right now, Savour Stratford, Perth County. Now, we invite you to take a moment during the gala to follow the branches of the tree that Cynthia was mentioning. It's great because it just shows how Stratford's restaurateurs and chefs have worked and influenced each other over the years to make Stratford a stop on Canada's culinary map. Enjoy canapes from what we have discovered to be Stratford's founding restaurants: the Church, the Prune, Rundle's, Wolfie's, and the Keystone Alley Cafe. I mentioned the chefs and restaurateurs who are here. I mentioned Bryan Steele. He's here right now, but he's only got a couple of minutes. He's got a line up at the restaurant. He's got to rush back to complete the dinner service there. But Bryan wants to say a couple of words. So Bryan, please, come on up.
I thought I'd had to introduce myself, because I don't have to, so thanks very much. So I'm Bryan Steele. I'm the executive chef at the Prune Restaurant and the Stratford Chef School in the years that I've been here. I don't know, since 1989. So I think that would qualify me as maybe one of the old farts from the culinary community here. You know, some of the most oft asked questions that I get asked are, you know, what's your favorite dish? Don't really have one. I just, you know, I like all kinds of stuff, but that's the most often asked question. Second most often question, what's your favorite cooking reality TV show? Never watched them. Never watched them. I just don't have time. Of the serious questions that people often ask are, what inspires you as a chef? So, you know, I gave that a little bit of thought. And I think, you know, with my teaching, you know, so many years at the school, I often, I think of mentors, people that I've worked with, people that I've met, and maybe dishes I've had or something like that. And but I think when I think of what really inspires me, what came to mind with Stratford wasn't so much a chef that I worked with before, or necessarily a dish or something, or an educator even with the school. It was a farmer. And he's a man by the name of Francis Cummings, who he used to farm here in Perth County during the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. He's no longer with us, but I remember him as a very young chef coming in, and he was just this eccentric individual. Before he came to Perth County, he used to live on the prairie, so he always had cotton balls stuck into his ears like this. He chewed religiously 3 cloves of garlic every single day. And it was funny because I think he used to fancy himself a bit of a ladies' man. And I never wanted to tell him, this is not really going a long way to propagate your image. He dressed in like this conductor's cap and like I think the traditional farmer's green dungarees and a matching green jacket. He always religiously came dressed like that. So he was quite an eccentric character. And who, but when I first met him, I thought he almost seemed like a little bit of an annoyance because he was at tease. He would come to the restaurant with just a handful of things, like not baskets and bushels or cases or whatever. And we had a busy restaurant. Of course, tonight is an exception. But he would come with like 4 pints or 6 pints of the most unbelievable golden raspberries. You know, the words to describe them would be like liquid sunshine. They were just phenomenal. And he would come in sometimes carrying things like carrots and beets, and he would cradle them in his hands. So, you know, I asked him several times, what makes your stuff so special or whatever, and I didn't really need to ask him because I think I've never really met a farmer to this day who exhibited such care and I think a lot of caring about what he did. So that went a long way to inspire me. It has gone a long way to inspire me. And I remember in the late 80s when I started here, you know, the idea of organic food and organic farms was just beginning to gain traction, I think, a little bit. And I asked him, because, you know, at that time he was probably in the 70s, late 70s. And I mentioned, you know, what do you think of all this? And, you know, his response, there was no naivety, there was no facetiousness whatsoever in it. It was just, he said to me, what is that? Because, and I thought, is he being funny? Is he trying to pull my leg? No, he honestly did not know what organic farming was. And this is before artisanal this, 100-mile this, slow food this. He just believed in treating food really naturally, with a lot of care and very special. So, you know, I think I thank him a lot because he kind of pointed me in the right direction. This little teasing handouts of, you know, a couple bunches of chervil and a few peas, and he was just wonderful and religious. So he went a long way to pointing me in the right direction in terms of inspiring me, with presenting me with such wonderful things. And I feel blessed to be part of the county. Just have such a power. Thanks, Abby. Busy. Get back to it.